Hello guys, this is Super Setman and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, I upload videos about bodybuilding comparisons mainly, but I try to expand and cover different subjects about bodybuilding, so if you're a fan of the sport, subscribe to stay up to date. Today we have an epic battle between two of the best bodybuilders of all time, and by that I mean two of the very best. Top 3 of all time or even top 2, cause these two might be the best two bodybuilders the industry has ever had. Two pioneers of bodybuilding, one dominated the 70s and the other one dominated the 80s. Ladies and gentlemen, we talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lee Haney. Arnold Schwarzenegger is a 7-time Mr. Olympia. He held the record for most wins until he was surpassed by Lee Haney himself, who has 8 Mr. Olympia titles in his bag. Arnold was also surpassed by Ronnie Coleman, who also has 8 wins, and he was equaled by Phil Heath, who has 7 titles and is going for number 8 in December this year. But nobody has equaled or surpassed Arnold in terms of legacy or popularity. He is widely considered the best bodybuilder of all time due to his winning record, but also due to his physique, which many people consider the ideal physique for a man. He looked like one of those Greek statues, and even though he had some weak points also, he was a master in hiding them when he was posing. As for Lee Haney, he holds the record for most Olympia wins, tied with Ronnie Coleman. In my opinion, he is the only multiple Mr. Olympia winner who does not have a controversial win. He dominated the bodybuilding stage for 8 straight years and retired undefeated at the age of 32, when most of the nowadays bodybuilders begin their pro careers. Just to put things into perspective, Ronnie won his first Olympia title at the age of 35. Lee Haney has also very good genetics, having wide shoulders, huge chest, good back development, and a very tiny waist. Before we begin, I want to mention that I'm aware that these physiques we're comparing today come from very different eras, Arnold 1975 and Lee Haney 1991. Let's keep in mind that in the late 80s and beginning of the 90s, the knowledge on nutrition, drugs and technology was very advanced compared to the era Arnold competed in. That being said, let's begin, and we start with the front double biceps. As we can clearly see, Lee Haney packs more muscle to his frame. He dominates at the legs department and has wider lats. But on the other hand, Arnold's biceps are way better. Arnold has some of the best biceps of all time. It might be a bit of a stretch, but I'm going to award Arnold this first pose because the pose is called front double biceps after all, and he clearly has the best biceps in this comparison. The next pose is the front lat spread, and as I was saying, Lee Haney has bigger and wider lats. This is not one of Arnold's best shots, even though his chest looks very good in this pose, but his chest looks good in every pose, to be honest. Lee Haney wins the front lat spread. Our next pose is the side chest, and look at that side chest from Arnold. Arnold Schwarzenegger has the best chest of all time, even by today's standards, period. Nobody touches him at this department. Lee Haney has also very good chest development, but regardless, Arnold Schwarzenegger clearly wins the side chest shot. Arnold Schwarzenegger was not known for having a very good back, but in my opinion his back development was very good, especially for his era. Look at that Christmas tree and that lower back where he beats Lee Haney in my opinion. And also he has good traps and he has that graininess compared to Lee Haney. But Lee Haney's back is at another level. His back overall is much bigger and fuller, his lats are wider, and of course, downstairs he beats Arnold easily, even with the calves, which were very downsized for Arnold in 75 compared to the previous years. Lee Haney wins the back double biceps. Unfortunately, we don't have a back lat spread photo for Arnold from 1975, and I'll use this 1971 photo. which is the only photo with Arnold hitting a back lat spread on a stage I could find. Clearly his back lat spread would have looked better in 75 because he improved his back as the years went on, but regardless, Lee Haney would have won this pose anyway. As I mentioned before, Lee Haney's back is just on another level, his lats are wider, he is fuller, he wins both upper body and lower body, and he wins the back lat spread. I couldn't find any pictures of Arnold hitting a conventional side triceps on a stage, and I also never saw this on any of my fellow YouTubers who also do comparisons. I honestly don't know the year or the place where this photo of Arnold was taken, but he looks very young. But at least we have a photo and we can make an idea. I don't know the reason Arnold avoided hitting this pose. It may be because obviously his triceps were not on the same level as his biceps, but they were not very bad in my opinion. But I once heard Arnold in an interview that he would have wished to have better triceps or to have trained them more, something like that. Anyway, Lee Haney did not have the best triceps in the world either, but based on these photos, in my opinion, they look a bit fuller than Arnold's, and given the fact that this is not a stage shot for Arnold, I'm going to give this pose to Lee Haney. I also did not find a photo from 1975 where Arnold hits a conventional abs and thighs, but in this front relax we can see his ab development as well as his thighs. Neither of them have great abs. Arnold has a 4-pack and his waist is pretty wide, and Lee Haney has that weird gap between his left and right abs. But they both could hit very good vacuum poses, which compensate the lack of very good looking abs. But Lee Haney's midsection is tinier and his legs are clearly better, and he wins the abs and thighs in my opinion. Our last pose is the most muscular, and because Arnold clearly dominates with chest and arms, I'm going to award him this last pose. The final score is 5-3 for Lee Haney, but I don't want to focus too much on this result, as I repeat, they come from two different eras, and considering this, it's actually a pretty good result for Arnold. This video was voted by you on Instagram. I made a poll asking which comparison would you rather see out of this one or Phil vs Kai, and this came up on top. So if you do not follow me on Instagram yet, you can find the link in the description. You should go and follow me there if you want to stay in touch with me. I take into consideration your suggestions and I'll be posting more polls with comparisons you can vote to be featured in future videos. Don't forget to like the video, comment your own opinions in the comment section below, subscribe if you haven't done it yet, and follow me on Instagram or Facebook. You can find the links in the description. See you next time, guys.